Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Alia Khan. I'm the chairwoman of the Islamic Fashion and Design Council. So it is said that we are to become the change that we want to see. And I think we all agree with that. For only then will we start to see the beautiful world that we all know is possible. Well, I believe the adherents of modesty have done this in profound ways. Those that embrace their natural style and elegance, whilst valuing their parameters of modesty, are truly leaders of change in today's world. And what immense change we are all witnessing. I mean, have you ever seen modest fashion be in the headlines as much as we are seeing it today? It's quite remarkable. Style is the reason the hijabi girl is now depicted in the media as your friend, as a normal fiber in the fabric of society. And like her cheerleader counterparts in high school, only now is she voted best dressed by her high school peers, or even featured in an H&M ad. Not that we should all aspire to be in an H&M ad, but it certainly is an indication of respect and appreciation of who we are. Yes, let's all be the change we want to see. Profound things can happen when we do. Today, I'm delighted to be talking to a panel of players of this beautiful change. They're in the business of Islamic fashion, and we're excited to get all of your insight. Guys, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to start by introducing Dejang Lestari. In her last year in college, she wrote in her notebook that her life plan would be to have a career that she was passionate about. 3 years later, she launched her successful company and is the CEO of hijab.com, a Muslim fashion e-commerce boutique. Tell us a little bit about hijab, Dejang.
Okay, thank you so much, Alia. You're right. That in the last semester of my college study, I write down about what I have to do. I'm studying political science, but I'm now working in fashion industry. It's okay because I'm quite tired with my country, Indonesia, the largest Muslim population, but there is no big brand there to serve the population, to serve the market. So I come up with idea. Why don't we become the player rather than just the market? So the idea is our potency, the biggest one, is Muslim population, right? And our background as a multicultural country, it creates DNA of creative people. So that I come up with idea, why don't we explore and empower the designers of Indonesian designers and become the world leading of Islamic fashion?
Lovely.
Yeah.
Great. We'll learn more about that in a little bit.
Thank you.
Harun Rashid. Wow, I prepared my introduction so perfectly. Look at this. You guys had lined up exactly the way I prepared it. Harun Rashid. Welcome, Harun. Assalamu alaikum. He once said, even when we were marketing for our male fashion line, we target the women. Remember that? Knowing full well who the real shoppers of the household were. He put every bit of his wisdom into building the Islamic Design House into a wonderful success. Tell us a little bit about that.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So Islamic Design House, really I owe the success of it to the most important women in my life. My mother, my sister, at that time when it began. So it was really inspired by my mom and my sisters. They're muhajjab, so they wear the jilbabs. When they went out to buy something, they didn't find anything suitable for them. So they'd go to the market and buy fabrics and give it to my mom, and she would stitch according to a design that they would show her. And women of that age, as you would agree with me, they're quite good at my mom's age, stitching clothing. So I looked at it and I saw an opportunity because there was a whole line of my sister's friends who placed orders with my mom, and she would charge £10 a piece. And she wasn't able to fulfill this demand. So I thought, how can I get this on a commercial level and get it out, design it and get a consistent collection going on a regular basis. And really started from there, and 10 years on now, alhamdulillah, distributing across 60 plus countries around the world, 15 retail franchises. I say to my mom whenever she says, you're working too hard, give it up or stop, and I say, I'm actually just working for you. This is your business.
Oh, that's sweet. That's lovely. Thanks. Very nice. Kareem Toure, our next panelist, founder of the online marketplace for modest clothing called Modernisa.com. He says that the Modernisa lady is modern, not marginal, feminine, not sexy, conservative, not narrow-minded, and social, not asocial. I like that. So how does one go about targeting this type of a profile?
It was like 2010. We will look into the people around me, the family and friends. And there's a big population of like 80 million people lives in Turkey. Like 20 million women wears hijab. But when you count the brands who was serving to hijab was less than 10. I see there's something wrong in it. And also when I go to Mecca, I saw people shopping all around from the top shop and the other shops. And like there are 3 to 4 million people there, in a huge market is there, but no Muslim brand. That was the other thing that I said, something is wrong here. I'm coming from the internet background, helping people to have their projects done. We have an accelerator program in Turkey. And I try to convince brands to serve to that big crowd. I said, listen guys, like you're doing so-called modern stuff, please, there's a big market over here and serve them, I help you. They said, no, everybody was like hesitant about it. That time it was also a political thing to, deal with hijab or not dealing with hijab. And I said, what the hell? I'll do it. I convinced like 3 or 4 brands together and started to serve. And when you serve, people help you to grow. And that's how we grow in 4 years. Now we have more than 300 brands at modernisa.com. And every day, 250,000 people visits our site. It's like 7 million per month. And we carry more than 20,000 different pieces in our stock. And here we are.
Wonderful. Great story. Great.
Thank you.
And last but not the least, our panelist, Rami Al-Malik. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. He has been able to beat every business's dreaded experience, the returns. He's done this with a technology called virtual size. I don't know if that's still the case. Maybe things have changed now. But the founder of Miella.com sells you clothes that you would definitely not want to part with. So what was Miella's initial learning experience that got you to make the decisions that you had to make to combat returns, which is a common thing for a lot of .coms?
Sure. First, assalamu alaikum. I just want to say that it's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be part of this platform and to be sharing the stage with my peers and the titans of the modest fashion world. And really just to be alive. You see, I've been an entrepreneur for most of my life. But in 2009, I had a very bad health crisis, which provided the context for a big change in my life, both professionally and personally. Oprah used to always talk about having an emotional GPS. My GPS got completely rewired during that episode. And I really think that Miella became a manifestation of my journey in life. We are a fast fashion, fashion-forward, modest clothing brand. We design and manufacture our own collections. Think of it as Zara, H&M for the modest world in terms of price points and styles and quality. But early on, we realized that we had an opportunity to positively contribute, just like my brothers and sisters here, to women's lives in the world. And Miella became a vehicle for me personally to also help organizations that fight cancer, especially organizations that work with cancer with children. So a portion of our sales goes automatically to these organizations. We're very proud of that. So to answer your question, one of the challenges we have as e-commerce players is returns. And early on, again, being with technology background and having done multiple startups, I realized that we had to work on something that would fix that. And so we tied up with a company out of Sweden, which works with ASOS and all the big e-tailers. And right now, we're the first actually in the entire region to pioneer this technology, which helps in measuring your garments and getting your right fit.
Wow, thank you. Please help me to welcome all the panelists, and we'll begin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So just a little bit of house rules. I want to involve everybody in this discussion. So please, if you have any questions, raise your hands. There are people with mics. So even if I don't see you, they will see you. And we'd love for you guys to engage. Comments, disagreements, all welcome here. So I want to start by asking you guys about modesty being the rage. And it really is. I mean, it's even sort of like trickling into the celebrity scene. So you've got Taylor Swift, who's deemed the most covered up celebrity. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but that's what she's being called. Nigella Lawson made headlines when she wore the burkini to the beach, as we all know. And it is said that Olivia Palmero and Kate Middleton have become style icons to Orthodox Jewish women because of their modest style. And of course, Sheikh Almwaza is deemed chicly modest wherever she goes. So how much of these influencers and trendsetters affect your business directly, and how much do you care, frankly? This is open to anybody in the panel.
I think for us, and I think we probably share that sentiment, there was a rise of the modest fashion blogger. I think they've become, celebrities in their own right, and they've helped introduce the idea that you can be fashionable and modest at the same time, and there's no conflict there. So I think from our perspective, we've had a lot of great collaborations because we've realized that we can tap into a receptive audience and build credibility and trust, as opposed to your traditional media sort of approach. So when you say celebrities, to me, my mind goes to bloggers for some reason. I don't know. It's
How about you guys?
Yeah.
Celebrities, Dejang?
Maybe in Indonesia, with a lot of population like that, and this is the internet era, right? So Instagram is playing a very huge part. There is a celebgram, we call it, celebrity on Instagram, that have 1 million followers. So it's not about like just actress, but Telegram is playing a very good role. Like, for example, one of our tenants, which is Dian Plangi, have 3.4 million followers in Instagram. And there is an actress recently wearing hijab, and the followers is increased 3 million. So actress and hijab is going to be like very famous. So yes, celebrities take a very good influence for hijab fashion.
Kareem, would you like to see more celebrity-driven messages like mainstream fashion does? Would you like people to tout your brand in a similar way?
Absolutely. But there's still everyone, like the celebrities are local right now. Indonesian celebrities are Indonesian. Turkish celebrities are Turkish. We still couldn't find our Nicole Kidmans in the arena, but we need to, because still the fashion is local. The modest fashion is local. To create a universal fashion out of that, the mainstream universal thing, we definitely need universal celebrities.
Okay, but Harun, maybe you can answer this. What about Kate Middleton and Taylor Swift? Why can't they represent you?
Well, I mean, we've seen pictures of like Angelina Jolie wearing a headscarf, and it's been, on Facebook, social media. I mean, any press is good press, right? So, it adds to our overall message. But I think we want to see more Muslim celebrities also taking the lead. I mean, the business we're in, we're targeting the Muslims, Muslim sisters, Muslim women. We do have occasionally non-Muslims buying our clothing, and we found like somebody went to Cairo and they know to enter a mosque, or they came to Dubai or Abu Dhabi to enter a mosque, they need to wear a modest clothes. So they want something fashionable because they're into fashion. So they come to our site and they see something, and because our stuff is very much, quite modern, contemporary, still it keeps the traditional silhouette and maintains that. And they bought in, they've taken pictures, and it's up on like social media. So it does help. Like any press is good press, but I'd like to see more Muslim celebrities taking the lead in that, and this will impact the Muslims' confidence even more.
How about you guys? Do you guys care about celebrities getting behind modest fashion?
Assalamu alaikum. I think, who cares if Angelina Jolie wears hijab? She's not Muslim, so I don't mean it in a crude way, but she doesn't represent our values and the values that fashion is supposed to represent. And I think also, I remember in Turkey, there was one actress, I forget her name, but she played in a Fethullah Gulen program called The Teacher. And when she started wearing hijab, that was the end of it for her. So hijab could be a career killer. So that might be why they're not wearing it. And I think, the thing about Islam and fashion, like I was talking to my sister over there, and Islamic fashion is a very unique thing. And it's for a unique group. And I think we want to keep that speciality.
Nice, okay. Yes? Wa alaikum salam. Do you want to take a mic? You're loud enough? Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. So, no offense to my sister over there, but I think it is important. I think it is important when non-Muslims like Angelina Jolie wears a hijab, because it helps us as Muslims being a minority. And with Islamophobia so common nowadays, it makes us feel more comfortable. It makes it a common thing. So
there is that factor that you can't deny about, like how I said in my introduction, about the high school girl who wears a hijab and finally gets voted best dressed by her high school peers. There is that level of wanting to be accepted. So I think perhaps the celebrity scene maybe does that, but we have to maybe be careful with it, that we don't go too far with it. There's one last question, and then we'll move on. Over there, please.
Hello. Yes,
yes,
my name is Rehana. Actually, my comment is similar with you. I have three children. My eldest is 8 years old, and she adores Taylor Swift. So when you said that Taylor Swift's fashion sense is covered, I am happy. I am happy because it tells my children that you can be popular and you can learn music by not showing your flesh. So this is a good influence for her and for the future also of our children. Thank you.
Okay,
Very
important.
If I can add something to that.
Yes.
You see, a trend happening right now. More and more catwalks are actually accepting and showing more modest wear. And this is a good thing, right? It just makes it overall more acceptable. And fashion in the West, or modest fashion, is seen as suppressing the woman, if a woman dresses up modestly. Whereas in Islam, we see modest wear, the muhajjab or the hijab, as not suppressing the woman, but actually respecting her and respecting others. So.
Yeah. Do you want to just one last comment right here, please? Yes, go ahead. It's right there.
Just on the comment about the Taylor Swift and Angelina Jolie and Rihanna, whatever. I think we Muslim women in the upcoming years have become trendsetters, and they have become trend spotters. And the celebrities have realized that if they want to gain respect from all over the world, modesty is important and dignity is even more important. So I would think that it's not a big deal they're wearing a hijab or something, but it's like to gain dignity, modesty is important.
Lovely comment. Thank you so much. Well, it is definitely interesting. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit about Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, the Olsen twins. Okay, don't ask.
Not my age group.
So they've got a clothing line called The Row. And it's won award after award, and you guys might know this. They're loved by consumers for being luxurious, understated, minimalist, and modest. I mean, when you talk about modesty in mainstream fashion, they're pretty iconic when it comes to that. So being the epitome of modesty without being boring is what they've achieved. The line is selling like crazy and has built their empire into multi-millions, as we all know. So in your experience, what are the award-winning ingredients to great modest fashion? Have the Olsen twins nailed it? And what have you learned as far as the key ingredients that concern your business? Rami, do you want to talk about that?
I think I'd like to quote Google. They always used to say, "Don't be evil." I think fundamentally, just be good, man. This isn't a pursuit of profit. We're doing something where we're making a difference. I know that there's a dollar sign that's being associated with the entire, modest fashion sort of industry, and that might be attractive to some, but that's not what we're here for. So I can't really comment on the collections of Olsen twins, but what I can say, as with any business, you need to listen to your audience. For all of you guys out there who are entrepreneurs, that's very important. We started with a very sort of inclusive dialogue with our consumers very early on, because we'd have these night sweats and we'd wonder, do we have product market fit? Do we have collections that people would want to wear and collections that add value? And so it's very important to have that. And so if you talk about winning ingredients, these aren't just modest fashion winning ingredients, in my opinion. They're just business winning ingredients for you to be, to sustain a business.
So it's more about values based, Kareem? Is it?
I completely agree with you. First of all, for the business dynamics is the first thing. The second is, from my journey, is the variety is very important. When we started the business, it was in July. I was looking for long sleeve tunics to buy in Istanbul. Like there were more than 1,000 producers all around. All I could find was 50 tunics, 50 different styles, 50. And I was asking, like, long sleeves, you don't have? They were saying, it's July, brother. Like 50%, like 60% of my women wears hijab, and they don't have tunics in Turkey, not in New York.
Yeah.
Then we promise that we're going to be bringing the variety for our women. Then right now we have more than like 2,000 tunics in one collection.
Okay.
Today. And this is the one thing that we are looking for, always looking for the variety. Second thing is the price. Like the hijab clothing was an expensive thing in Turkey. When you ask them, they said, okay, we are using 1 meter more. Is that it? No, it's because the supply was less and the demand was a lot for that. Then we changed that dynamic too. Like not only me, like the players in Turkey all together, we demand for that, and we changed it. Right now, you can find the right price for the right product. That was the second key thing, and understanding, listening your audience is another key thing.
So your thing is representing that modest woman with sincerity, really putting yourself in her shoes and knowing what it is that affects her. Variety is one thing, cost is another thing.
Yeah,
so
being comfortable another thing.
Yeah, and being comfortable. Okay, very good. Harun, how about you?
Yeah, I totally agree with Kareem. The challenge is on many fronts. It's not just the one key strategy that you got to overcome, because it's not an existing market with many players, so you can look at one and say, okay, what's it doing wrong, and then improve on that, and you have a new business or a new brand. We're actually, pioneers in this market, creating a whole industry from its ground up. So you got to look at price, product, distribution, packaging, excuse me, retail platform, like all across the board. You're looking at, like we are involved in from trend analysis to design development to sampling to production to then distribution and then to retail. The entire chain we're involved in. And I'd say one thing which is very important is customer expectation. If you look at the Muslim customer, they're used to the Western brand. They'll walk into Dubai Mall and they know what to expect from DKNY or Armani, right? They have already created a certain expectation. If we are to succeed and we are to win their hearts over, we have to be in par with the mainstream brand. And we can learn a lot of lessons from them, but it's just repackaging it back to the Muslim market, which we call it in Islamic Design House, one of our taglines that we use is we call it faith, fun, and fashion.
So maybe in a way it's also staying true to your own character. So you don't necessarily need to emulate the character of the mainstream market, but you can learn for sure. They're much more senior than this market is, so there's a lot of tips. I want to know what you guys care about. Yes, what do you guys care about? You've got the industry players here, you've got the suppliers and the designers, you've got their ears right now. What do you want to say that matters to you? Yes.
Right. One of the questions that is confusing to me for the whole modesty market is the styles of hijab are various. Like in Pakistan, they wear hijab in a certain way. In Malaysia, Turkey. How do you deal with that diversity in terms of how people wear hijab? Because, for example, abaya is very popular in the Emirates, but in Turkey, I don't think no woman wears
manto.
abaya. They'll wear like a skirt or something like that.
Dejang, do you want to, because you deal with different styles.
Yeah, in Indonesia there is a various brand and various characters of the brand. We have more than 200 selection of designers. There is an abaya, there is a contemporary design, ethnic design, some kind of that, and it depends on the customer taste. So it doesn't matter if we wear abaya or wearing a contemporary design. In Al-Quran, it's already stated that we have to cover our aura, except face and hand. And besides that, we can innovate, we can explore what we want to wear, what colors that we want to wear, some kind of that.
See, that also kind of gets into the topic of what is their responsibility? Is it their responsibility to tell you to wear it how you should be wearing it or how they think you should be wearing it? Or is their responsibility just to provide you with great options, great quality, and great ability for coverage? And the rest is really up to the consumer, isn't it? I mean, you could take a hijab and wear it as a sarong on the beach. You know, at the end of the day, whatever the end use is, should not really be their responsibility, isn't it? Do you guys agree? I'd like to know, but before we get into that, actually, what do you guys want to see? I still haven't gotten the answer. In the audience, does anybody have an opinion on what should be seen right now that the industry is not providing? What's that key ingredient that you're looking for? Is there something that doesn't work for you? So yes, sorry? Can you give her the mic, please?
Just clothes for teens, like
clothes
from
for teens.
to 18-year-olds.
So more hip? Like, what
hip.
does that mean, clothes for teens?
I mean, like a little bit smaller sizes.
Sizes, okay.
Not so business-like, not so fancy. I mean, I have a teenager, that's what they're looking for.
Okay, great. Yes. Can we have a mic, please?
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
A lot of the modest fashion designers seem to be catering to the formal dress business. I'd like to see more clothes for the professional women because a lot of the Muslim women are working and they want to dress smart, they want to dress modest, but they want to be where it's acceptable in the environment that they're in, and they don't go where they blend in, but they still maintain their identity.
Great
so
comment.
Professional clothing.
Yeah, I've heard that before too. The professional women guys, what are you guys doing about them?
This is exactly actually what we work on. We cover an entire spectrum of broad sort of lines of designs that cover women who are mothers, career women, students, and the whole 9 yards. And I think this is why I alluded to the Zara H&M bit, because we do cover various sort of storylines and segments, and I think that's very important. Again, along with the pricing that Brother Kareem talked about.
How about you guys? Any comments on the professional woman? That's actually a very valid comment. We hear that a lot at IFDC. We need more designers for the office, for professional attire.
Like me, at the first I'm working, and then my boss told me that you have to grooming, and then I have difficulties to find what the best dress for grooming in office, some kind of that. So that why don't we come up with this platform and people can easily choose which one the design is fit them. So there is a customer in hijab. They work in Apple. So I'm shocked. Wow, the address in Apple office. Wow. So I think modest fashion is beyond just covering, but it also can fit the needs of working women, because working woman is also have to be modest, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Last comment. Did you have a comment on what you want to see as a key ingredient that's missing right now?
Yeah, I think.
Stand up, please. I can't. Just put the mic to your. Yes.
I used to live for the last 25 years in Europe, and I found it really difficult to get the perfect clothes for my daily, my daily day. And I would see it really as something really good. As I would go to Zara or I would go to H&M, I will find a brand which is really an Islamic brand where I just can go and choose whatever I like. And I think this is something for you as a market. Like, there is a niche. We need more people like you who will help people or women like us to cover up and to just make it easy, not that complicated to get something. I think even for our brothers and sisters who just convert to Islam, they have a lot of problems to find the perfect clothes to go and to find their own style. So that will be something which I really would like to address to you, yeah.
Great comment.
Sorry, where did you grow up in Europe?
In Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything to say?
Say, inshallah, we promise. Like, not only us, there are great brands all around the world, like Ab, Shukr, Sefa Merve. A lot of brands are here for you, and we're going to be all serving with the best that we can, and we try to bring the best, and also we'll be helping you to dress for the success for all of us.
I mean, we're at a nascent stage, right, Haroon? I mean, you're probably much older in your experience than a lot of the people on stage today, and probably in the industry. So what do you think? Do you think we're going to see more diversity, more variety, more of what the demand is?
I mean, put it this way, you guys are hard to please. You know, we work around the clock. I don't know how many hours you guys work, but I burn the midnight candle. You know, and you guys still want. The more we give you, the more you want, right? I mean, we
see back at you now.
we just it's just taken us 10 years to be able to consistently deliver 4 collections a year, right? Usually, even in mainstream fashion, before fast fashion came in, this whole Zara model, which we might go into in a minute, it was like every 6 months. I mean, the amount of work that's involved is humongous. If you look at the entire, if we had time, I'd give you a whole breakdown of the timeline. I've got a brother there nodding, he's in the same business. But really, like for example, one of the things we do, and I just give you guys a perspective of this, is when we got into the market, there was this one-size-fit-all concept, right? So you buy a buyer, and you have to go and shorten it or narrow it, basically, right? Because it was just one size. It's a one size, right? Or it came in just 4 sizes, and you had to go and spend extra money and extra time, and you didn't get instant satisfaction. Now, you don't have that same problem if you walk into DKNY and Armani and so on. You don't have that, right? So Muslim women we found were basically a bit unsatisfied, right? So what we did is we know, like, people come in different heights, different width, different shape, right? You can get 2 people same height but different width, and 2 people same width but different height, right? So we've got every design has 15 sizes, okay? 15 sizes. Now that's an inventory nightmare, right, guys? Production nightmare, right? Not 4 sizes, not small, medium, large, and extra large. It's 15 sizes because we have slim, regular, and loose. Okay, and within each one we have 5 heights. So, but our idea was that a woman walks into the shop, buys the product, pays for it, has instant satisfaction, goes home, wears it, enjoys it. Okay, that was our idea. Now, we couldn't possibly produce for all sizes, so we took the most middle mass market size. So size, say, 7, 8 to about 14, right? Now 16, 17, 18 going up, right? It's a small market, and anything lower than that is a small market. Now we as businessmen, as well as, I mean, I'm not into fashion per se myself, but we're running a fashion business. So we look at it from a business point of view, whether it makes financial sense. We have to choose our battles carefully, and then the areas we focus carefully. So, but the momentum in this arena is growing. Like we've got loads of plans. All these guys have huge plans. So we're going to come around to satisfying every one of you, inshallah, going forward in the future.
Does that make you guys happy? Yes.
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. Is this, you can hear me, right?
Yes, okay. Stand up, please.
Sure. So the one thing I'd like to see more of is athletic wear, because oftentimes the yoga pants or the workout pants are incredibly tight. And in general, there's not enough of an emphasis around being active, being athletic. There's a huge emphasis on beauty and high-end fashion. But I think we need more reinforcement about women actually taking care of their bodies in an athletic way and less of an emphasis on just the superficial.
That's a very important point. Dajang, what do you have as far as more designers coming up in this area, the activewear area?
Yeah. I have one interesting story, because one of our designers that want to enter hijab.com, she's non-Muslim, but she thought about how we make sportwear for Muslim women, because they should look good when they're doing sports, right? So I think there's a large of room for improvement in Muslim fashion design, and it's not only Muslim designers, it's open for another religion.
Okay,
we have the same story. Like when we started, I look around, searched the web, and I found Cindy from Capsters, Cindy van Bremen. She was helping Muslim women in Netherlands designing caps for the sports without needles and everything. It's great. Like people see outside, they see the need and they cater for that need.
Right, but I agree. There could be more choices.
Absolutely.
I think it's coming up. I just like the rest of the stuff. It is coming up. It's still a very early stage for this market, and you know it needs. There's a lot of different points that need to be focused on, but activewear for sure. One more comment.
These businesses, but are your businesses mostly homegrown, for the lack of a better word? Do you get support from the financial sector? Because we keep going back to Zara and some of these brands, but these brands are well funded by the financial industry. How much awareness does the financial sector have about the work that you're doing, and how much support are you getting from them?
I mean, funding is always the most difficult stage, I think, of any business, perhaps. But what are your stories? How much support do you see within the Islamic economy for your work?
I think, okay. I think 3-4 years ago, when we began looking into this, we talked to investors, and a lot of them would be hard pressed. They'd be like, yeah, we get it, but is there a market for it? And we didn't have the numbers from Thomson Reuters to support our business plans. But fast forward to today, we secured funding from a group of angel investors out of Dubai. This has allowed us to gain velocity and get to the point where...
Was it a tough sell?
Sorry?
Was it a tough sell?
Actually, not really. No,
okay.
no. And now we're in a stage where we're going to go through another round, Series A, to sort of expand. I think you've had a lot of success in that area.
So we have funded from Saudi Telecom, and before that we had a super angel in Turkey called Aslanova. We had the first round from them. The second round came from the Saudi Telecom.
Are you happy? Are you happy with the funding you're getting?
We're happy. We are definitely happy.
So you didn't find it to be difficult? I mean, a lot of people are crying that there's not enough options for them.
It's a hard thing to find. We are still startups. We are holding horses in one side, wild horses. But on the other hand, you need to find funding.
Yeah.
To make it together, it's a hard, tough thing to do. But we, alhamdulillah, we succeeded.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
How about you guys?
Yeah. We got our first funding since 2 years, 2 years ago, from Silicon Valley, VCs from Silicon Valley. Even they're not Muslim. So I think there is not enough attention for the Muslim entrepreneur, especially the small one. So I think, yeah, there should be much more VCs from Islamic world put attention in entrepreneur.
Okay, so I think this begs a question about all the facts and figures that are going around in the market, in reports actually, about how great and huge this market is, the spending power that they have. You hear, depending on which report you're reading or which article you're reading, you hear anything from $287 billion market to $400 billion to even $500 billion, right? So isn't that excitement for the investors? But the question really is, are your businesses reflecting the numbers in the reports? So do you have numbers that are equal to the exciting numbers that we're seeing in the economy reports? Karim?
Yes, we exactly see that, those numbers. Like we see the interest, like talking about 7 to 9 million visitors per month to a site. It's like a news site. It's not small.
What do you attribute that to? The lack of options, or?
The lack of variety.
Yeah.
This is the first thing. The second thing is the price. Also, because like a lot of brands are small brands, and they don't have the volume to make to make it cheaper.
Right.
When you catch that volume, you can make things cheaper, and you can serve cheaper without compromising from the quality.
Is that your experience, Haroon?
Well, like an event like this, GIES is a testament to the awareness that's being made in the halal industry in its entirety. I remember being in this event in 2013, and all the discussion was around finance and banking and regulations, and there was no platform for businesses. And alhamdulillah, this year, a lot of awareness is being given to all the other industries. I mean, if you don't have industries growing, then you can create financial services and products, but you ain't got no businesses to support, so it collapses. So now that there's a lot more momentum now. When we first started 10 years back, there was no options at all whatsoever, and we literally organically grew our business, bootstrapped it all the way. And right now we've got, investors are willing to throw money at us, but we don't want it. We don't want it because, we have to grow it responsibly. It's not about, because, we need to go stage by stage, and the learning process needs to happen slowly, that we can adjust and adapt. And we've seen in the mainstream with all the big booms and all the chaos that it's created. And we in the Muslim market don't want to be, we want to make responsible business decisions as we move forward.
So then, Rami, how much of this market is attributed to the secondary market, which is the non-Muslim consumer, which is maybe the Christian woman who wants to find something appropriate to wear to church? I've heard that they're a strong secondary market, the Jewish woman, or even just the mainstream modest woman. So what are your experiences?
I think the fact that we saw some significant pain points in North America and Europe, and this is where we're focusing our efforts, we've adopted an approach where we're faith neutral, because at the end of the day, we're not there to judge anybody. We're here to facilitate a process and provide solutions. And instead of you buying from 4 or 5 different stores and trying to attempt to put together a single look, we do that for you, and we design accordingly. So yeah, we have a wider spectrum of an audience, if you like. Yeah.
Okay, and is that your experience, Dejang?
Yeah, for sure.
And do you get a lot of the non-Muslim market as well as your secondary market?
Majority is Muslim.
Okay.
Yeah, from Indonesia, Singapore, but there is a customer from UK, Sweden, Canada, and even China and Russia.
So there is a following.
Yeah.
Then. Okay, that's right. So let me ask the audience: are we ready for a Zara? That's like always the $2 billion question. Altaf, let's give Altaf the mic here, please. Right here. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Altaf from ARB. I think modest fashion is ready for the mainstream. I think this summit is quite a good place for us to announce at ARB. We'll be actually launching a store in a tier 1 shopping centre in the UK. It was 6 months ago that we opened our first concept store.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Altaf?
Yep, I'm the commercial director for ARB, which is a modest fashion brand from the UK. So we are going to be sitting alongside the likes of H&M, maybe 5-6 doors away from them, and G-Star and Debenhams. So it's a exciting time, but also interesting, but also a bit worrying. How will it go? But we think it's ready for it. We think
it's ready for that Zara model.
We hope so. We think so. We think hijab's very much in the mainstream, and I think now is the right time to do it. Or else, what will happen is the likes of H&M and Zara, they could encroach on this space. People, there's comments come out about costs. Well, we don't have the economies of scale as the likes of Zara and H&M. But I think now is just a perfect time to do it.
So we, many of us were at a roundtable discussion in Turin, Italy, thanks to the Italian government, the Turin government, and they hosted a roundtable discussion on modest fashion. And that was one of the questions that was brought up with the industry players is, what about the Zara model? And some of the comments that came back were very valid. They said, why do we have to emulate any model like that? Why can't we have our own character and our own platform that sort of caters to that type of mass market or vastness? What are your thoughts on that? Anyone in the audience or here?
Yeah, so I want to take a step back. When we talk about the Zara model, it's something that evolved over almost 30 years. It didn't happen overnight. For you to take, something that you see on the runway and have it in your store in 2 weeks, that's a stupendous amount of effort, and I think you shared that sentiment a minute ago. So when we talk about manufacturing, there's a spectrum, right? On one side, you have the ateliers who produce 10, 20, 30 pieces of style, which means that your unit cost is higher, your yardage is higher, your labor cost per unit is higher, and that means that you're selling at a higher price point. So that's your $200 blouse, your $1,000 abaya, and so on. And then you have on the other side of the spectrum, you have your mass manufacturing. You have your production lines that are pumping, thousands of garments an hour, right? And so in that case, you're looking at 500 plus minimum order quantities per style, per color. So if you're an aspiring designer and you're a startup and you want to get into this business, this Zara model of a business, it's not an easy formula to pull off, and this is where investors come in. They have to believe in the fact that this is something that takes time. You have inventory risk, and there's really nothing in between. Either you're a higher end brand or you're a mass brand when it comes to manufacturing. Yeah.
Any comments on the Zara model? Yes, please. I'll come to you next.
Since we're talking about the business models here, I would like to ask the panel, most of you are e-commerce brand owners. So what works in terms of e-commerce? Does multi-branded players works more or mono-branded players? I mean, I would like to just understand from all of you sitting here. What are the
it's a great question because we have different business models represented on the panel. So you have, a virtual mall, basically, where you have 200-300 plus brands represented. You have the hybrid model in Brother Haroon's, where they also have their own brands that they build, and then you have mono brands like us. And each one of them has its pros and cons and opportunities and challenges. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dejang, do you have any? Because you represent designers, and you try to go after the designers that have strong followings, from what we understand. Correct?
Yeah. For us in hijab, there is a multi-brand designer, so it's more efficient because we don't have to have a cost to product the stuff. But the challenge is how to marketing the products because the designers have to trust us, because we can gain a lot of traction in hijab.com. So the biggest challenge maybe, traction, how to make the traction.
Comment right there. Can we have a mic right there, please? Yes, please stand up. Go ahead. Assalamu alaikum.
Islam. A lot of ethical fashion activists have actually criticized Zara for issues along its supply chain and also leading to a culture of waste, where fashion is coming very quickly and people just use clothes and it's a lot of waste. Given that waste is probably not in conformity with Islamic principles, does modest fashion, are modest fashion and fast fashion compatible?
So that's a great question. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you guys next. What is the responsibility that people in the modest fashion space have? Because you guys are also known as halal fashion or ethical fashion, and the pressure is less for mainstream fashion. So what do you guys think about the responsibility, Haroon?
If I could just ask everybody, raise your hands if you know who Pepper Middleton is.
Who?
Yeah, Pepper Middleton.
Pepper Middleton,
Middleton. Yeah, there you go. See, who remembers what color dress she wore at Prince William's wedding?
Yeah.
What color? It was a blue color dress that she wore. 1 week later, that dress was available in Zara stores. And Zara proved their model works that...
The celebrities.
That's culture. Right. Well, this is a fast fashion concept.
Yeah.
That, and Zara can't do this. And actually, Zara's business was going down almost to the point of bankruptcy. And a new CEO came on, and he introduced this model. And he works with the market. And now Zara is one of the, amongst all the fashion brands, is doing one of the best. The thing is we are, quite far from emulating the whole Zara model. But, if you saw somebody wearing something, on a billboard or on TV, a Muslim celebrity, you would want that. You guys are going to dictate what we end up doing and how much work we put in and how many sleepless nights we have, right? It's the consumer at the end of the day. We manage the consumer's expectation, and consumer dictates, the kind of businesses come up and the models they bring about, because we're ultimately here to solve a problem, and it's your problem, your biggest pain, right? So we are a little bit far from that just yet, but I can see the future going towards that direction.
Okay, so I just got the 5-minute signal, so I'm going to go to my next question. This is really engaging.
What are the responsibilities, like we're in the fashion industry. Our responsibility is to make women feel good. And we'll feel confident. And to feel comfortable, that is our responsibility, to provide that to the women with a lot of different varieties, like with different colors, different materials.
Right, but made in an ethical way. And
that's it. That's exactly it.
Yes.
And that's the point. You know, for us to talk about ethics and good values and so on, and then have kids at 20 cents a day working in sweatshops in Bangladesh, it doesn't work. There's a disconnect there. So, you know, for us, we spent over a year going back and forth, you know, visiting factories and so on, so we could know that there's a base standard at least that people are following.
So let me tie this into my last question, and I think people want to know the answer, what you guys have to say to this. So. Arundhati Roy, the author of God of Small Things and human rights activist, said that coercing a woman out of a burqa is as bad as coercing her into one. Let's create situations where a woman can choose. And I think that speaks to the criticism about hijab. Well, you know, they're oppressed and whatnot. And we all know that's not necessarily the case. And instead of going after the oppressed, if you do believe that a woman is oppressed by wearing it, go after the oppressor, is the general opinion, I would say. But what, if any, political or societal pressures do you face in choosing your line of work? Do you guys get approached with this or criticized for what you guys do, Haroon?
Actually, we haven't had any criticisms, but both from the Muslim market or mainstream market. To be honest, I mean, if we grow a business and it adds, you know, to the economy, then any country we operate in, you know, loves us for it, right? We're the business creators. But I just want to mention one thing. Going towards, say, fast fashion, we have to do it responsibly. We don't want an incident like what happened in 2013 with Primark in Bangladesh, where nearly 1,000 people died because, you know, they put the factory under so much pressure and the owner to produce at a certain price that he overworked the people, didn't maintain the building, and it collapsed because of that reason. And Primark came under a lot of slack because of that, because of this incident. Yeah.
Kareem, do you have any comments on the political pressure or the ethics of the market?
In some circles, the fashion is still, you know, some kind of a comfortable, uncomfortable word to talk. We are moda nisa. Moda means fashion. Nisa means women. It's like we think fashion is a need. We think a woman wants to look beautiful.
Do you get criticized?
Yeah, sometimes. Like it's like you cannot be the favor for all the society, but our mission is to bring the best with the codes of Islam.
Okay, how about you, Rami?
Actually, I want to rant a bit, just for a minute.
You have like 30 seconds to rant.
30 seconds. So the H&M bit, we all have seen the H&M ad with the Muslim Maria Idrisi, right? So we've been subjected to so much negativity in media as Muslims for so long that anything that's positive is cheered and so on. And I have no issues with that. And I feel like there was a sense of inclusiveness within that ad, and I don't want to demonize H&M. But for us to think that this was anything but a marketing campaign for them to tap into a new audience, as in the global Muslim community, would be naive. And so I think as a platform, as GIES, as the IFDC, as so on, the onus is on us, all of us, to think, to really sort of reflect on this and help one another in this ecosystem, to really go after it. Entrepreneurs, investors, absolutely.
Critical. Jajang, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we have to think beyond.
Okay, that's my rant.
Really agree with Rami that we have to think beyond the controversy. What value, economic value that Islamic fashion can bring? It can drive our economy, right? So we have to think beyond, don't focusing on that controversy. Yeah.
Great food for thought. I'd like to thank everyone for showing up. Sorry we went over time a little bit, but this is too much fun.